All right, so this is Lab 8 with the virtual wall. We will now be doing something a little more interesting than just a two binary number adder. We're going to create our virtual wall on our motor. And Simulink actually allows us to do this pretty easily. So just as a reminder, in the past, for quadrilateral decoding, we had to set up a bunch of functions. We had to do init QD, we had to update counter, update angle, and this is just one of the things we had to do to talk to the motor, not including set PWM for the motor and the filter and all that good stuff. But just quickly looking at QD, we see we had to set the two-phase ports and pins. So both were port A and then 13 and 12 respectively. So if we go into our model here and we look at this block, FTM quadrature decoding, QD block, we see we have two phases set. So if we look here, general, we have the encoding mode is with two phases, phase A and B. And if we look at phase A, oh, look at that. It's at port A, pin 13. And we can set this one as well to be a few things, but we know we want port A, pin 12, as that matches what we've done in the past. We hit OK, and we go over here, we go out, and we say, cool. And we have now our general model. This is for our wall, and this is with the filter itself. So we can set the filter even and set PWM with this PWM config block. So all of the stuff in Simulink is mimicking stuff we've already done. So if we build that real quick, and just as a reminder, in case you aren't aware, you can view diagnostics and see exactly where in the build you are and kind of keep track of it. Hopefully soon it will say it's created our C file, which is great. It's waiting along. Oh, look at that. It says it's created code for us. Cool. Let's take a look at that real quick. We go in here, go into virtual wall. Oh, you see here, we go into here, and oh, look, it's created another folder for us, this virtual wall folder. So we go in here, we sort by type, we look for our C folder right there. Edit with a notepad, because I quickly want to look at this. Cool, you can tell I've already been searching. So some things to keep in mind, in the post lab, they ask you to turn in part of the code generation. Don't worry too much about that. In case you're curious though, here's the section of code that looks pretty interesting, right? It says, oh, I'm sorry, not that part. That's not what I wanted. I wanted this. If we're greater than or equal to 0, make use equal to 0. And if we are not, just make it to equal to whatever it was. So that looks pretty promising for a wall. Another interesting thing is this. What do these numbers remind you of? Hint, think limits that we've enforced to protect the motor. So all the stuff that we put into the Simulink model is getting translated into code here. It just may be a little harder to understand. And there's a ton of comments in this file. It's pretty full, pretty gross. But for a computer, it's really nice to make. All right, so now that it's built, now it's uploaded, let's check to make sure it works. We're going to turn our motor on. And then, oh, would you look at that? So no torque, and then I go this way. And I have a torque fighting against me. And then I've also had the LEDs outputting the location of where it thinks it's at. But yeah, that's this lab pretty much, and it's a fun little lab.